Right, this is the next part of the Queen Mary 2 build from Revell. It's I still haven't got a PC yet and a working camera, so I still can't record and video and do it properly as it probably would be. But it'll do for the moment. What I'll have to do is maybe do 2 or 3 shorter videos instead of all these videos going out to an hour and a half or near 2 hours at some points. So the deck is so anyway. I'll try and get that done and then get some better equipment at some point so I can make the videos a bit better. But right now, I've got two lights set up now to try and get the lighting proper. So the hull is complete. I don't know if I had it on the last video, but originally all these holes, the windows across here, I had them highlighted in white and they look pretty good. But then the more I added details, all the decals going along here, the more it just looked silly. The white drew your attention and you couldn't really see the hull properly. It just didn't look right. So it looks a lot better now. But the weird thing is these decals, they're not terrible, but let me move the camera closer. See if I can get. You can't really see them all any good on the thing. They're on the front there. If you can just pick out some of them, they're so small. It looks like bits of flecks of white paint along the hull, which is really strange. It's really off-putting, but they're okay. And the decks, the first 4 decks are all in place. Let me just move that over. So the first 4 decks are in place. 1, 2, 3, 4 are all in place. The stern deck there, this would be by the swimming pool. I was originally going to make this, I was going to mix up some arrowdite, some resin mix to represent the water, but they're so small it just wasn't worth it. I didn't see the point. So the decals, they don't look too bad. They're actually quite good. And the decks fit. I mean, it's pretty neat that all these decks fit really well, which we'll come to in a minute. The stern fits in really well, with no gaps under there really. No, all this fits in well. The bits and pieces down here. These windows on the side are a real pain, but they're there. You can just about make out that I've managed to get the detail of the liner down it. Now, when you look inside there, you might be wondering if you can see them. I can't really see in this light. Let's have a look. Right, alright, there you go. So if you're wondering what this is down here, I had to find some way of being able to work on this hole without touching it. Once it's all painted up and all the decals are in, you don't really want to touch that hole. That's the worst thing I've ever done with these models. Let me see, let me have a look at you. Right, one of the worst things I've ever done with these models is building a hull up, painting it all up, getting it all done, and then you have to work side to side. So I had an old kitchen tape shelf, which I managed to cut down to just over the length and just under the width of the ship. And then what I've done is I've drilled through some, so it's attached with a nut and bolt. That inside that you see is a nut and bolt. And the two, you can't see that, the 2 bits that it's sitting on, these columns, I couldn't. You buy them off. You can buy them off Amazon, various places. I don't have the luxury of a place like Wix or Homebase or somewhere where I can go and actually see what I'm buying. So I needed something that would give me a decent bit of strength under there and cover a decent bit of the hull, whilst I could work on it without touching it, without actually having to move it around by touching the hull, possibly getting paint on it, glue on it, all sorts of things. Ooh, what light is doing that? That one there. Let's switch that off, eh? Oh, there you go. That's better. This is, I've got windows here, so I've got lights coming through the window. I really, it's a bit of a bug really. I can't really do anything about it, hence this, the sound, and if I draw the curtains across, then it doesn't look right, so that they're going, that's why the thing keeps changing. It's the tree outside keeps cutting the light in and out. At some point I'll have to get a better setup with the table, maybe get some better lights and get a PC, but anyway, I'm going off track now. So I had to find somewhere, so that is now bolted firmly on there. And then I've got a choice. I can use it as a, well, I suppose I could use some strips. So to get these, because I kept buying them off Amazon and they were always too short, I ended up cheap as hell, 7 or 8 quid, buy a garden fork handle. And I cut that down, and that's what they are. It's a cut down garden fork handle. Works perfect. And it's cheaper than buying around Dowling from Amazon or Wix or somewhere online, which costs about 14 quid. So I managed to get that done. So I'm toying with the idea of either keeping it on this stand. I've got another stand that I've built for it, another plinth bit for it. I could keep it on it and buy some veneer and veneer this and keep it on this. I might just do that, and then maybe get some better columns for it to sit on. Because it's bolted, I can just change it to anything I like. But I can now move that model around. See, it's not going to go anywhere. See, I can turn it upside down. I can do all sorts with it. You can see the nut. There's the nut and bolt there, and all that mishmash of wood around it is super glued into the hole. So that nut is not moving. That nut and bolt are not going to move. They are there for the duration. I mean, obviously I can take them out and change them onto a different thing, but the point is I can move it all around, as you can see, and I've no reason to touch the hole. So the next part now, just get me bits. The next part now this is the next stage. So the next stage is putting all this lot together. You can't really see it properly, I'll show you properly. So we've got the next deck, which has got a swimming pool on it. It's not very big, but that's going to fit at the back here, at the stern, so that should look alright. There's a fair few bits to do on that. And these are just some of the columns that just go together on it. The 2 glass windows, which have to be detailed. And then we have these. These are the balconies. Let's see if we can get that closer. I think just about, I suppose you can make them out. The floor of all these balconies have to be painted up a darker colour, because a brownish. Well, I'm using a mahogany colour with a bit of white in it. So there's 426, I counted of them. All have to have the floors painted. The back of these, that back, all these little slots and slits in the back, they would be representative of the doors that went led out onto the balconies. Technically, behind that, of course, you would have the cabin itself. But this just shows you the back wall, so you can see the back wall from the cabin itself there. But some of these, when you look at them, that one in particular, you can see a lot of it is not open. The chances that you're going to see them once they're in place are not very high. They would be glass doors all along the back there. So you're probably not going to see them once they're in place. But that's not the point. The point is that there's a huge amount of them are going to have to be very, very carefully dug out and opened up to make them so you can actually see through them. And that's the big bugbear with this kit. There's an awful lot of flash around on this kit. Lots of flash. And you don't really expect that on such an expensive kit. It doesn't ruin it, but it doesn't make it absolutely brilliant for sort of putting it together, you know. And all these bits, these have, let's see if I can get back to the model. Right, now all these odds and bobs, bits and bobs, these go, when it's done, along there like that. So these are going to line up on there. It won't stay in place because it's, I won't be able to get that to stay in place. Let me just see if I can put something behind it to hold it there. I've got to just hold it in place. Yeah, it's not going to, okay, so it's going to look something like that. So it's going to look something like that. So it should look all right. There are 426 of them, plus the ones underneath. That's 800 plus cabins. And there was just over 1,000. These are all ocean view cabins. And there was just over 1,000 in the kit altogether. There's some that go at the front as well. There are 900 and, I can't remember what it was now. I think 940 in the kit. So it's about 940. It's about 200, 300 cabins short. But I suppose at this scale you couldn't get that many in. Or there are some more down here that I didn't notice. Oh, actually, so there might be quite a few more cabins in there. But they will all fit in like that. Now, the other thing that will happen, and this is another bugbear, is when you fit this deck, when this stern deck goes in place, let me see if I can twist it round. Now when the stern deck goes in place, where are we? Right, you just about see that. When it goes in, these parts here go along the side to hold it up. So when it fits in, about there, just below the windows, there's a little notch in each corner. The ladders are short of the deck. Now, you can just about see that, can't you? Let me see if I can get it closer. You can't really get it any closer. No, I can't really get it any closer, unfortunately. But you just about make up these ladders. There's quite a little gap there between the ladder and the deck. And you think, well, hang on a minute. If somebody climbs down this ladder, they've now got to drop. But you'll notice that in the deck there are little holes. So these bits will go along either in or outside of there. This might not be in the right place. I haven't sorted these out yet. So that will go along there. That will go in there. I'll probably go on the outside. Yeah, I think they go on the outside of that little ridge. Right, so they go on the outside. And then they will go like that. And that's stuck inside, but it's not a problem. So they will all fit together like that. And then you'll have that gap. And then, as is typical in modelling, you have to think way ahead. Way ahead. Putting this deck in place is stage 16 of the kit. So you would do that, you would get it all together. And then at stage 81, you would come across this. I don't know if you can see that. Where are we? It's very small. You would come across this. All right, there you go. You come across that. And that, at the back of that are two little notches, as you can see. They go into them holes in the deck. Once they're in the holes in the deck, that becomes, it adds up onto that. That ladder goes onto that, and it actually goes underneath it. It will go something like, again, it's not really clever to try and do it like this, but that will go like that. And you can't really see it, can you? It's too small. It will go like that. Let's see if I can do it better on that one. And it will create a little tiny spiral staircase. But of course I wouldn't have known that until stage 81. So if I carried on building everything, there's a chance that by the time I got to that stage, that those two little staircases would have been out of line. They wouldn't have fitted anymore. So you have to think way ahead and get these little ladders, these little spiral bits fitted on the back of the deck before you actually start putting all the deck together, so you know it'll be in line. So that's fine, that'll get done. I reckon this is probably going to take, oh I don't know, this will probably take a few days just to paint these up. And then we come to the other bugbear I have with Revell. They really do bug me. That's these. You see, this is the part, you see, this is stage 16, putting the deck in place. No mention of them little ladders. And then part 81. Where are we? Am I at 81? I'm somewhere, 81's there somewhere. Right, now where are we? What's 81? It's here. Right, it's down here. And so there's stage 81, you see, putting those little bits in place. Oh, it's absolutely silly that they didn't put it in there so that you would get it in line. But now comes the other bit that, I don't know, Revell, or I don't know why they do it. You can't just make the colours black, grey, green, red, blue. It has to be mixes. So one of the many mixes is 90% white and 10% black. Now that makes grey. White and black make grey. So why you can't just have a medium grey or something? I don't know. Because this bit here, the bow section, that's light grey. The different bit on the bow as well is Africa brown. That's fine. Main deck, I didn't use the wooden decks on this. When you look at pictures of the Queen Mary on video, on YouTube and the likes, you can clearly see the decks aren't super light. So they would have you mix 80% beige and 20% white. In other words, light beige, which actually, I don't know what it is with me, but these wooden decks you get with these kits, I find them so light. I don't like them. I just don't like them. So I invested in a thing called Lone. Oh, excuse me, Lone Beige, and that's what these decks are fitted with. Look, this is Lone Beige, and I think that looks pretty good. I've kept this has got about 3 very light coats on, and you can still see all the wood grain in it. It looks absolutely perfect. So that's going to work out just fine. And what we'll do, and there's a lot of Revell colours here. The red should have been a different, a mix of fiery red and red matte and rust matte. Pointless. You just buy a red colour. 95% grey and 10% of this, 90%, 75% of that, 25% of that, 80% of that, 20% of that. Absolutely pathetic, instead of just putting straightforward colours in. So I ignore Revell's colour codes. I just know that I can get a colour approximated to them. So the next job is tidying all this up and preparing it ready to place onto the stern. And getting all this undercoated, getting all these little bits that have not been put through tidied up. There's a lot of them. You can see them here. You're supposed to be able to see through all this. And looking at once again, you can see the cabins on YouTube and on Google. You can actually see the cabins. So to be fair to Revell, these are very much. They look very much like the cabins that are on the actual ship. The back walls, as I say, these back walls, these would be representative of the, I don't know, double doors, treble doors, whichever the cabin is, that you would open, and obviously you would go outside. If, and only if, you had tons and tons and tons and tons of patients, and you got very, very fine piece of plastic sheeting, I suppose you could spend a few months building up little square and whatever cabins on there, and make little cabins at the back. Maybe paint them out in a mix of colours that they would be on the ship. But of course it would take forever. I wouldn't do that. And the other thing I have actually seen, I don't know if it was this scale, but I've seen somebody built this model, and all the balconies on here, which all have to be painted out a different colour, well, white on the walls and white on the background, and the brownish colour on the floors. I've seen somebody do this and put little deck chairs and tables and that in there. But that's fine scale miniature modelling. That's an art. I couldn't do that. So I wouldn't do that. But that'll be the next job, is tightening up. You see, look at all this splash. I mean, there's not just bits of it. It's But then you may have seen a previous video where this deck had a load of flash on it, and that now sits. No, there's no gaps there. But to be fair, once you tidy up the flash on these kits, on this kit, to be fair, these decks do fit really nicely. They go together really well. So you put up with the flash, it's fine. This has bits of it on. There's a bit there. You see, this is another bit. That little tab at the back there. This little tab should be like that one. I've not tidied this up yet, but you can see that it's got a proper tab which fits into a notch. But there you can see all this flash stuck. All has to be tidied up. Flash all along there. It's a bit of a bug really for a kit that costs you well over £100. But it can be, I suppose it can be sorted. The worst things are these glass windows. Everyone has to be You have to get some black down them, and they are a real pain. I just can't say how much of a pain they are, but I digress. Now each of these windows here now, as you can see, there's 400 and whatever. They've all been glazed. I don't know if you probably doesn't pick it up very well on the camera, but they have been glazed with crystal clear. Occasionally you can catch them glint in the light. So from where I'm looking at the model from here, I can see the glint. I can see it looks like glass in there. Looks really good, but the camera probably doesn't pick that up very well. If I ever get invested in a PC and a proper camera, because this is only single definition, it's not even HD or 4K. If I ever manage to invest in a PC, get a proper camera that can pick up all the details better, where I can zoom in and out. I don't really zoom in and out with this. See, I can zoom in, but it doesn't really keep a very good picture. I think the picture quality goes. You might be able to pick up the glazing in there a bit better now. And you might be able to pick up some of the bits on here. You might be able to pick up, you can see where all those bits all need. Look at all that stuff in there. That should all be open. They're all going to be opened, and then you can see that worse now. But by zooming in, it's not the best phone in the world to zoom in on, unfortunately. It doesn't give a fantastic picture. But that's nearly half an hour now, and I've just gabbed away about it. But all in all, this is turning out to be an extremely nice kit. I mean, I'm well pleased with that. As I say, it takes a bit of getting used to these decals running along the bottom, because it looks like you've just got a paintbrush and go whoops and splashed paint along it, because they're tiny. And especially these bits coming down here, down the front of the. Can't see that, can you? Pointing that out to you. The bits coming down this front here just look like there's a load of paint been splashed onto it. But that's not a massive problem. It's not a massive problem. And when you look at the ship online, you can go online and see it in dry dock. You can actually see most of this decal is actually pretty well represented. It's well represented. All the windows and portholes are in the right place. The portholes have all been glazed. They're all in the right place, so it's not too bad. It's just a bug getting these windows here with the black sort of stripes down. It doesn't look too bad. They look alright. So once they're done, and once I've got this deck painted up, cleaned up and painted, it's going to look a lot better. There's a bit that goes in there. So the next job is to tidy up all these bits. And once they're tidied up, start painting them. That's a good thing. And this is the thing, wood to plastic. If you've seen my Titanic, where I finished the Titanic model, wooden model, well, that took, to get to this stage, with decks on like this, and with before putting all the structures on top of the decks, was almost 2 years. It was, especially when it was about 18, maybe 19 months. It's a big job doing a wooden model, so it makes it a lot. Hello, everybody. So it makes it a lot sort of, it's the difference between, there's my enterprise, the difference between plastic and wood. This represents, I don't know, a month or so, 4 or 5 weeks, as opposed to 18 months. It's unreal. It's one reason I think I've mentioned it before in videos I've done, why plastic is the way to go now. I'm getting too much, like this when I'm dealing with small parts. So I'm doing quite well on this now. Like I say, I'll have to try and get a better system. I can't get this. Sadly, I fixed up 2 lights thinking I might be able to do it. But unfortunately, the light comes out too much. It needs to be more of a diffuse light. And I don't think I can change it a bit. See, I can bring it down, but can't really do anything with it. If I move it around, I can move it around, but it doesn't do anything. You see, it's a shame really if I turn it down. But although, to be fair, having two lights on like this, there's another one here. Having two lights like this does actually, you see, that one's not so bright as that one. Having two lights on does actually make it easier to see what I'm doing. This is a good setup. So I have to I really must try and invest in a PC, get some proper software so that I can actually edit the videos I'm doing, or learn to, and then get some proper diffuse lighting, and then maybe move the workstation against the wall over there. You know, where it's not, where I've not got all the light coming through these huge windows. Because the problem is, although he doesn't really look at the big tree, that tree is literally 6 or 7 feet away from the window. So when that's blowing around, that's why the light goes in and out on the video. And let's turn that stupid thing off for now, so you've not got that bright thing. But you know, we'll get going. I'll post another video. I might, like I say, I might do 2 or 3 videos at a time. This is now 31 minutes, and that's probably about good enough. Maybe a bit more. I think one of my videos went in for nearly 2 hours. So what I'll do is I'll call that for this little part of the video, and then I'll come back and I'll make another video, maybe of me cleaning the bits up. And whether it's worth doing a video if you're just watching me clean a few bits up and paint a few bits. Because all these decks, by the way, have lots and lots of detail on them. And this is another thing, the kit supplies you with 2 lots of detail for these swimming pools. One is a clear plastic bit that goes around, mostly on the stern one, that goes round and round, and it also supplies you with some photo etch parts. Now the difference is when you check them out when you Google the swimming pools and you check them out, you find out, let me see what happens if I turn that light off. You see that's made it a bit darker, but yeah, you see you can't, it does make it darker, doesn't it? So, oh no, what was I saying? See, I'll lose my track, you see, going mad, going balmy. I talk about something, go and smack onto something else, then go on to something else, and I've forgotten what I'm saying. Tough luck. I've forgotten now completely. What the hell was I saying? Swimming pools. So with the swimming pools, when you check them online on Google, you can see that they're actually clear. I don't think there'd be glass. I think that would be health and safety, it'd be too dangerous. You won't put glass bits going around that. I suppose I haven't been to a swimming pool for so long. I think they're probably toughened perspective to it. Toughened perspex or whatever, you know, that goes around it will go all around the stern of the swimming pool. So there would be a handrail going all the way around there. So actually in that instance, the actual kit glass part, plastic clear part, is better than the photo etch part. Although I suppose I could do the photo etch part and maybe glaze it, but it still wouldn't look ident. It wouldn't look perfect. So I'll probably use the glass parts. Then it comes to the jumping ahead a bit. It comes to all the handrails. And I think I've said in a video before, photo etch is, I think it has its place. Photo etch is excellent. I love photo etch, but I hate photo etch. Look at the light coming through that window now. It really does bug you, doesn't it? And I can't do anything about it. It's not this light here, it's the light coming out of them curtains. see, it doesn't do anything. It's I've lost my thought again. I go off track, don't I? And I'm probably sat too far away. The speakers are up here on the top of the phone. I'm probably sat too far away. Probably if I get really close in like this, you know, if I get like this, you can probably hear me better now. You can probably hear my voice now. But now you can only see my eyes, of course. I mean, you know, there's my eyes, you know. So you've got the handrails that go all around this, okay, all around the decks, obviously. And because photo etch is just a real bug, although it looks better, funny enough, the plastic handrails actually look better than the photo etch handrails, because the plastic handrails have some depth to them, whereas photo etch is just flat. You know, there's nothing to photo etch, it's just a flat piece of stuff. So I might not do the photo etch bits on this. There's a lot of it, there's a lot just the devats for the boats. So I might just do it completely plastic rather than adding any photo etch to it. Because I think I've mentioned before, you may have seen my video of the hood and my MK1 Designs upgrade I brought for that. That just has thousands of photo etch. I counted it all out the other day. I think there's something like near on 5,000 pieces, just photo etch. And that's going to take a while when I get to start that. So anyway, I'm going off track again. So let's call that a day on this video. I hope it was okay. Feel free to comment if you think I'm being, you know, yeah, and just say so. I'm open to any kind of whatever you think of me, all the videos. And I really, like I say, I'm going to really try my best to get a PC and some proper software and a proper camera, 4K camera maybe. I've got an old Nikon camera, but that's 30, 40 years old now. And then we'll see, maybe in a couple of months' time I might get to a stage where I can actually do some proper videoing, you know, and make it a lot better, get a proper microphone. So I'll do another video in a little while. I'll post 2 or 3 videos at a time, maybe. So let's call that a day for us. Nice talking to you all. Hope you enjoyed this a little bit. Thank you for watching. And as I say, feel free to comment. And feel free to like if you want to like it. Feel free to hate it if you hate it. You know, it's I'm open to criticism. I'll take any criticism. I'm a big critic of myself. And my problem is I try and strive for perfection, which is absolutely stupid because I keep doing something, I'll paint it, I'll repaint it, and and in the end I just end up making a right pig's ear of it. So we'll call that a day for now, and I'll see you again. Well, I'll probably see you straight after this video, maybe. I'll start tidying some of this stuff up and put a video of that up, part 3. This would be part 2, because the whole was part 1. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.